Do you know where you are standing right now?
In front of the Ascalon Club, I presume.
The Ascalon Club only summons or ostracizes. What is your business tonight?
I received an invitation. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reid. Please proceed. Lord Redgrave is waiting on you upstairs. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Doctor.
There has been quite a battle here. I'm sure the Ascalon Club has the money to replace the furniture.
Good evening. We repel the intruders for now.
My good friends, if I may have your attention. Behold our visitor, the good Dr. Reid. Newborn of blood so pure and strong that even my friend Fergal Bansher was no match for him.
Hear, hear, hear!
Come forward, young Ekon, for we have so much to discuss. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reid. I am Lord Redgrave, Earl of Bristol and chairman of this exclusive association.
Lord Redgrave.
At last we meet. I've been eager to make your acquaintance. I've heard some astounding things about you. Please accept my condolences for your loss, Dr. Reid.
Thank you, my lord. Lady Ashbury expressed your wish to meet me.
Yes. The lady has always been a useful acquaintance, though not always reliable. Is she a good friend of yours?
She's a close friend, and I'm honored that she feels the same about me.
The centuries have taught me never to trust a woman completely, especially if she is a mortal. Too prone to emotions, if you ask me. Too fickle when it comes to important decisions.
My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury.
Of course not, and I praise your loyalty. Would you offer the same fidelity to the Empire?
What do you mean?
I speak of the Skull Plague that threatens London and the country. You have been on the front line in the East End, but the time has come to open up a second front here.
The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak.
We don't know for certain, but we cannot allow the disease to threaten the prominent heads of Great Britain.
Why have you asked me here?
Because the crisis is escalating. Our enemies, the Garda Priwen, have even launched an open hunt. The only way to calm things down is to put an end to the epidemic.
You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End. Is that it?
Ah, straight to the point, like all eager newborns. We shall have time to talk about all this, Dr. Reid, but first, I should like to get to know you better.
Talk? Is that the only reason you asked me here?
Well, no. I also wanted to meet the intriguing Ekon who made such a powerful progeny of his sister. You have not learned the name of your maker, am I correct?
No, I haven't.
Have no embarrassment, Dr. Reid. We all make mistakes. But whatever your lineage, you are definitely Ascalon material.
What do you mean?
I would like you to become a member of the Ascalon Club, and to serve me as such.
Before I accept, I have so many questions.
Please ask.
What does it mean to be a member of the Ascalon Club?
It means that you swear to protect the interests of the Crown, that you become a loyal servant of the British Empire.
Do you have any official recognition from the government? A charter from His Majesty the King?
No. Of course, the Ascalon Club publicly supports the Empire, but the true nature of its members remains a secret.
Am I supposed to follow orders?
As founder and chairman of the club, I alone am entitled to make demands of our members, and I do appreciate obedience.
What is the Ascalon Club's express purpose?
We follow the credo of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. As was he, we are sworn to protect the British Empire.
What does Ascalon mean?
Ascalon was the lance wielded by St. George, glorious patron saint of England when he slew the dragon. And like that lance, we pierce the hearts of all our nation's enemies.
William Marshall founded the Ascalon Club.
Not exactly. William Marshall granted me immortality, and I founded the club a few years later. The good knight has been gone for so long.
I killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all Skulls. Will his death be an issue?
Do not worry. My priorities have changed. Fergal was a zealous servant of mine, but like any servant, he had his limitations and is readily replaced if necessary.
I agree to join the club.
This is good news. Good news indeed in these crucial times. Let's inform the Assembly formally and proceed with your initiation.
My initiation?
Fear not. Nothing fancy nor dangerous. It is just that we, the members of Ascalon, believe that tradition and custom are the backbone of this country. My fellow members, dear friends, please gather and welcome this Ekon as one of our own.
Is he worthy? Is his blood pure?
Well, speak, Dr. Reid, in front of the most sacred blood. The blood of our beloved William Marshall. Speak now. Will you serve and protect the crown as he did?
Yes, I will.
Then, young Ekon, it is time to testify with your blood. It is time to sign the Book of Allegiance. I know it's awfully gothic and a tad pedantic, but England's traditions are the backbone of our nation. Delightful. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reid. Take your place among the bearers of the lance.
One of us! One of us!
That went well, did it not? It is always useful to bolster the troops' morale, especially before a difficult battle.
You have the makings of a general, my lord.
I was, though very long ago. Well, not quite a general, but a proud defender of the crown.
So why did you really want to meet me?
Straight to the point again, young Ekon. All right, let's talk, you and I, Lance Bearer.
I'm listening, my lord.
According to my spies, you have worked with Dr. Edgar Swansea on the epidemic, and your findings were quite alarming.
Do you know Edgar Swansea?
Not personally, but I've been told he has some sort of immortal fetish and is a good friend of yours.
Does it bother you that I consider him my good friend?
As long as you reveal nothing of the club's inner workings, why should I forbid you engaging in conversation with the good Dr. Swansea?
You are spying on me.
Not personally. I rarely leave this building. But once he found you, Fergal kept me informed. Until you put an end to his mission.
Who was Fergal? I don't see him sipping tea with the others in the club.
Fergal Banshire was my squire of sorts. Even before becoming that magnificent beast, he was a brute. He served me well for decades.
No, I mean, what was he? He was clearly no ordinary vampire.
No, he was a Volcod, all muscles and instinct. A breed, ferociously territorial. Mortals often mistake them for werewolves.
You do know I killed him.
Yes.
Will you bear ill will towards me for his death?
Of course not. Your victory was quite impressive and courageous. You earned my respect.
Yes, I'm convinced the recent invasion of frenzied Skulls in London is directly linked to the epidemic. This is not the Spanish flu, but something else.
I would be glad to hear more of your discoveries, Dr. Reid, but for now, my main concern is the security of London's inhabitants, both mortal and immortal.
What do you mean?
Alarmed by the epidemic, the Guard of Prewen has started a war against us British vampires. To appease the situation, we must eradicate the Skulls.
Skulls are malevolent and disgusting creatures.
I knew I was right to induct you, Dr. Reid. You would not dare lie to me on such a vital topic now, would you?
So, what do you want me to do?
I want you to investigate the city thoroughly. I have reason to fear there are cases of contagion in this part of town. Our absolute priority is to find and cleanse them.
And how would you like me to proceed?
By all means necessary, Dr. Reid. You are now a member of the Ascalon Club, and you have carte blanche. Interrogate the locals, follow all the leads you find, and get results.
Have you heard the rumors of some horned vampire revealing himself and singing obscure songs around the city? What is this new malevolence?
Skulls have been spotted everywhere in London. We are losing this fight.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. How does it feel to be this evening's centerpiece, figuratively?
I feel like the newcomer, and I do not like it at all.
Do not be alarmed. The Ascalon Club has a tried and tested policy for choosing its initiates.
May I ask who you are, sir?
Why would you be interested?
Well, as you seem to be the only man in the room with a beating heart, you draw quite a bit of attention yourself.
Ah, vampire senses never cease to fascinate me. They dwarf those of mere mortals. I am Aloysius Dawson, by the way.
Are you a member of the club?
Yes, I am. And I have been for many years. And will be until the day I die.
What can you tell me about it?
It's not really my place to give you such information. I am merely a mortal member, and a dying one at that.
Are you sick?
Personally, I consider my advancing years are a sickness in itself. My body is slowly abandoning me, Dr. Reid.
Are you not afraid? You are surrounded by vampires.
Sir, it's for that very reason that I joined the club in the first place.
Is not the nature of this club a secret shared by only a privileged few?
My dear Dr. Reid, I have spent years and a fortune precisely to gather that kind of information.
So you asked for membership?
I have been a member of many clubs in many countries. But I must admit, this one is my favorite.
What can you tell me about Lord Redgrave?
I would not dare speak of our chairman without his consent.
Mr. Dawson, of Dawson and Dawson, the wealthiest man in England. It is a pleasure to meet such a prominent figure of London.
A withering London figurehead, to be precise.
Are you sick, Mr. Dawson? I am a doctor, you know.
My case is beyond the scope of traditional medicine. I have spent fortunes on the world's most competent doctors to arrive at that diagnostic conclusion.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Should I suppose that you're here in search of some form of immortality?
Absolutely not. I'm here to implement my plan to save the city I was born in. To cast out the ghastly evil that has us all on our knees.
What do you know about the Guard of Prewin?
I should not say this, but I admire their commitment. This is what the nation needs right now.
But they are our enemies.
They are not mine, Dr. Reid.
Would you help them?
No. There is a time for such methods. But brute force will not be enough to fight this plague. We have to think differently.
What is the situation like in this part of town?
I am sure Lord Redgrave will enlighten you more effectively than I.
Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy.
You're right. Money is nothing unless one has the will to wield it. I have a plan, sir. A radical one that will save all that it...
What is your plan, then?
Quarantine and barricades are futile. What we need is a wall. A formidable, unscalable wall to isolate the deserving from the infected masses.
Complete isolation has proven effective throughout history, but the death toll has always been a high one.
I am glad you understand the concept of necessary sacrifice.
Are you not mistaking sacrifice for summary execution?
Why do you care? Are you not a vampire? Removed from all mortal concerns? Decisiveness is what the city needs, and it needs it now.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reid.
I think Lord Redgrave just suggested I was sired by an ancient vampire. Good evening, miss. Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reid.
I am Karina Billow. I don't need any doctor. The rats. Where are the rats?
Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats? Has one bitten you?
No, it's me who bites them. Tasty, juicy, disgusting rats. I can't stop eating them. Help me, please. Help me to disobey the voice.
What happened to you?
The rats. The answer hides in their little crunchy bones. Their juicy, tiny brains.
Miss Billow, please, try to concentrate. Why do you worry about rats so much?
The voice in my head. He forces me to do so. Drink their blood, he said. Eat their flesh.
Do you feel compelled to obey that voice, Miss Billow? Even if you're loath to submit to it?
Yes. Please. Help.
Tell me about the voice in your head. Who is it? Can you describe it? Is it someone you know? Someone you met?
Keep your mouth shut, he said. Don't ever speak about me, or I'll abandon you. Help me, please, Doctor.
What is the local news hereabouts, Miss Billow?
Shadows. Shadows hunting shadows. Whispers in the dark. Pestilence. Suffering. Death.
Tell me about yourself, Miss Billow. What do you do for a living?
Oh, I'm hungry. Need to eat. Have you got something for me? Blood, perhaps? Can you give me blood, Dr. Reid?
Don't you remember who you are, miss? What you did for work?
I was strong, proud. I campaigned for good causes. But that was before. Before. It does not matter anymore. I'm so hungry.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently?
Infection. Infection. The rats carry it, I heard. Rats. 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 Many rats around that big house. Funny smell, too. Dead flesh.
And where is this house?
West of the park. Not very far. A big house with no sound, no light, no life left.
I must go now. Goodbye, Miss Billow.
You made me sick, you juicy, warm treat. Damn it! Oh my! What have we got here? A dead rat. Oh, so gross. So tempting. Eternal life. Through the blood of the lesser beasts, he said. Oh, dear God, help me. Save me, for I can't stand what I've become. Rats. Those clever rodents are cautious now. They won't approach.
Why do you eat rats, Karina?
Their flesh contains the path to immortality. I have to eat them all if I want to live. Help me. Please. Make it stop.
I don't know if I can, miss. You have been tricked. Forced to play a disgusting game. I don't know how to save you.
Kill me then, Doctor. Take my life. I beg you.
I can't do that, Miss Billow. I'm a doctor. I won't kill as an answer to pain or suffering. Never again.
It is my decision. If I could, I'd do it myself. You're a doctor, but also a vampire, aren't you? Kill me, please. Make it stop.
I must go now. Goodbye, Miss Billow.
It's locked, all right.
Why are vampire hunters sniffing around here? I need to find out what they're after.
I shall fear no evil! Go on back to the shadows!
This woman's body has multiple lacerations. They're deep, too. Whoever did this was driven by rage. He had his tongue removed and his eyes gouged out. He was a victim of brutal torture. This one's neck is broken. He was young. Probably the son.
You killed your family.
They mocked my talent! Ah!
Such a radical mutation. Could it be a new stage in the disease's evolution? So, this girl took lessons at the famous Doris Fletcher acting school.
Watch yourself! Over there! Vermin! Oh, Christ!
I had almost forgotten I applied for a position at Pembroke. It was so long ago. Hello? Is anyone there?
Jonathan, is that you? I did not know you were back in London. Oh, my dear Johnny. I'm so sorry for your loss. Mary was such a sweetheart.
Thank you, Venus. May I come in?
I was going to bed, actually.
I'm sure you can spare me a few minutes. For old time's sake.
Of course you may enter, Jonathan. I remember when Mary came here with her husband and her son. They were such a...
It's a pleasure to see you again, Venus.
So you returned from the war in one piece too. Thank God. My Clarence is back home too.
How is the old rascal?
Probably outside, chasing ghosts and chimeras. Clarence has changed a lot since he returned from the war, you know.
How have you been since the last time we met? How long has it been? 3 years now?
I've done my duty, like all British women. You have no idea what it was like to wait for months without knowing if I'd still be a wife or a widow.
I understand. Luckily, this part of town has been saved from the worst of the bombings, from what I've seen.
Yes, and it's also true about the epidemic. The flu has killed here too, of course, but not on such a large scale as in other parts of town.
Have you noticed anything peculiar about the neighborhood recently?
You mean except for your return to town? No. Oh, and again, Jonathan, please accept my condolences for your sister.
Thank you, Venus. It was so sudden. And I've been so busy, I haven't spoken to anyone about it.
I wish I could have assisted at the funeral, but, you know, it's been so quick. And what with the epidemic in the streets?
There's no need to apologize, my dear. It's normal, considering the circumstances.
No, it's not. I am sure that Clarence has not even thought to present you his condolences. He is too busy with his penny dreadful stories.
Why is my return so surprising?
It's more an unexpected happy end than a surprise. You and Clarence, back from the war. You have no idea how hard it's been for me.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual?
The McPhersons. I heard they locked themselves in their own house.
They could just be afraid of getting sick.
Perhaps you're right. But if I were you, I'd pay them a visit. A big house, reachable through a courtyard, to the north of the railway bridge.
Goodbye for now.
You know that you are always welcome here. But at this hour of night?
No invitation is needed to enter this building. That can't be a good sign. No sign of a struggle. It seems Charlotte's friend knew the killer. Emily wanted to become a vampire. Something must have gone wrong. Someone is responsible for this mess. Blood. I should follow the trail. Hello, Venus.
Hello, Jonathan. Please, come in. I remember when Mary came here with her husband and her son. It was such a beautiful family. At least you survived the Great War. I feared the worst. I'm so...
It's locked, all right.
What do you need from me, Jonathan? At least you survived.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question.
I'm the Marquis de Bois-Colombes, and I strongly invite you to find your own game, sir.
I'm not here to sustain myself. I'm currently investigating the death of a young woman killed by a vampire.
A young woman killed by a vampire? Oh, you're joking, right? Oh, I do love the British sense of humor.
And who exactly are you?
I am Jacques-Michel Guillaume Florimond de Marquis de Bois-Colombes, at your service, my dear cousin.
You're French, but your English is quite good.
I was born in France, sir, but I consider myself a traveler of this world. So many countries, so many tantalizing tastes.
Dear cousin, are we related?
We could be of the same blood, my dear. I tend to consider all Econs as family, don't you?
What are you doing here?
I recently decided to visit London. I've always dreamed of visiting a city on the verge of collapse. Such a delicate, yet intense spectacle.
You take pleasure from others' misery.
I have been a totally depraved and immoral creature since the day I was reborn, sir. And probably before.
What do you plan to do here?
Take pleasure. Take pictures. Enjoy the show. Have fun. Believe me, I won't be the only foreign immortal who bought a ticket to the fair.
I followed the trail of blood from her room to here.
Oh, you're referring to that young woman. Yes, the meeting turned messy. I'm afraid I ruined my last redingote.
So you admit you murdered her?
I admit nothing, my good sir. I only regret the blood of that girl staining my clothes. Oh, blood can be so messy.
What happened?
She wanted to become one of us. Not the first time I have received such a proposal, but I must admit her direct approach tempted me.
And then what?
Her body rejected my blood. It happens, you know, sometimes even with voluntary prey. At least her gurglings brought me some fun, until the artery burst.
I believe you, sir. Emily's diary confirms your statement.
Oh, Emily was her name. Quite charming. Well, mystery solved then.
Yes, I suppose so. You can go.
And so can you. Farewell, sir. May you enjoy the spectacle of this fallen city as much as I do.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too? So sorry, I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other. And so many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Can you help me?
Infection is everywhere these days. But if you ever go to the park near that swanky house belonging to the Mullaneys...
Yes? What about the Mullaneys? What about their house?
Not enough noise for a big family with children. Not enough movement. Closed doors. What is going on in there? I wonder.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep. We meet again, Mr. Kimura, in a more peaceful situation.
Dr. Reid, still visiting London by night?
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity, I thought you'd be more cautious.
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening nightmares since I escaped that filthy jail.
May I ask you what you do for a living, Mr. Kimura?
I was a landlord. A wealthy one. And not a very kind one, I realized recently.
Why this sudden epiphany? Is it because of your near-death experience?
I was already feeling nostalgic about Weymouth, my hometown. With recent events, I'm thinking about going back there.
How is the situation in the West End?
I've heard rumors about armed men patrolling and fighting infected citizens in these very streets. I was lucky they didn't shoot me when I was abducted.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you heard anything from your family?
I was not only a bad landlord, I was also a bad husband. I've not seen my wife and son for years. Busy, busy, busy.
At least now you're ready to go back and see them. But don't be surprised if your son bears a grudge, sir.
You make it sound like you suffered from an absent father yourself, Dr. Reid. Well, I'll keep your warning in mind.
Have you no friends at all?
Over the years, I'm afraid my greed turned me into my friend's adversary, while I became friends with my professional rivals.
Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success.
Would you believe I was once a member of poetry circles and an astronomy club? We were young, such joyful dreamers then. But I stopped laughing long ago.
Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within, not without.
An altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reid, but you did. I will follow your example in these matters from now on.
There is no need to thank me. Rescuing a London citizen should not be out of the ordinary, though I'm afraid it may appear so in these difficult times.
You did not only rescue me, you fought for me. You put your life in danger to save me. That's quite extraordinary.
How will you cope if you're attacked again?
I don't know. I've heard about these men and women who patrol the West End every night, chasing criminals like my abductor. Maybe I should join them.
What can you tell me about your abduction?
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
And why didn't he sacrifice you?
That was the weirdest part. He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
What did he say about voices?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
Tell me, Tadao, why was your abductor so interested in your passion for astronomy?
I dunno. We met a few times at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. He seemed to share my hobby. Then he invited me to his house and locked me in.
Yes, astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing.
Stars are not just dots in the sky, Doctor. They are the key to our understanding of the cosmos. They remind us how insignificant we are.
You're right. But children love magic and stories. I remember our mother told us constellations have the power to protect us.
Protection by the light of the stars. That's sweet. You remember the name of these constellations?
Draco. My favorite constellation.
Memory's a strange thing. I can recite without hesitation the names of the 88 constellations. Yet I barely remember my own childhood.
Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you?
No. In his madness, he spoke about a blood sacrifice to be made to his master when the stars aligned to a specific configuration.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care. Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid.
I have found out what happened to your friend, Emily.
I can handle the truth. There's no need to hide the bloody details.
Your friend was planning to become a vampire. She thought she'd met an honest one and made a deal with him. Unfortunately, Emily did not survive the process.
My mother told me many times about the risks of being turned. I often suspected she exaggerated the danger to avoid me being tempted.
No, the risk is real. Have you any idea what a body has to endure? To become an organism entirely consumed by its need to process and recombine blood?
I should never have talked to Emily about vampires. I never thought she'd actually try it without me. Thank you, sir. Here, take this for your discretion.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently?
A few days ago, I spotted a strange house while campaigning for women's suffrage. Awful smell. No answer when I knocked.
Where is it?
It's the Mullaneys, a nice family who live in a big house near the park in the eastern part of this neighborhood.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights.
Please, sir. Whether
It's
you need to
locked.
buy something or not, I am happy to help.
Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reid.
Welcome, Dr. Reid. Welcome to my humble shop.
How is the situation in this part of town?
Life is good and peaceful. We're lucky to live in such an era of progress and wonders.
Are you not concerned about the epidemic?
Oh, I'm sure the authorities would take the appropriate measure if the danger were that high.
You cannot expect the newspapers to expose the truth while the war is still raging. I can assure you that the situation here is desperate.
Well, that's news then. But I can't believe that things are that bad. Are you sure you're not exaggerating a bit? For the thrill of it?
Is it not a little too late to be trading?
On the contrary, it is the perfect hour. Believe me, my friend, it is always at night that you meet the most fascinating characters.
But what about the epidemic? The bombs and raids? And all the random violence?
Please, sir, this is London, England. We will prevail. And if a bomb must fall on my shop, then I'll be there to hear it falling.
So you prefer to work at night?
Oh, I also enjoy a sunny day like everybody else. But the night always has a certain je ne sais quoi of its own.
Is it not at... What can you tell me about this place?
I recently found the best steak and kidney pie in the city. I'd be glad to share the address if you want.
Finding a good restaurant? Is that really all that interests you?
Oh, I have many passions, but nothing brings me ecstasy like subtle and exquisite flavors from my teeth to my belly.
I must confess, I have quite specific tastes when it comes to nutrition.
Really? Well, I'm always happy to try new exotic meals. If you ever find an intriguing table, please share the address.
Do you have any family nearby?
Not since my parents died. I'm London's lone gourmet.
Really? But you seem to be such a pleasant and sociable fellow.
I'm afraid the real hedonist has to be sometimes. I discovered ecstasy as a solitary pleasure, but it does not mean it can't ever be shared.
London's lone gourmet. What a strange title.
I used that name in my early years when I was a food critic, and I kept it.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual?
Not really. Wait, now that you mention it, I don't see the McPhersons in my favorite restaurants. They love delicate meals too, you understand.
Thank you. It may be nothing, but I'll investigate anyway. Where do they live?
They have a house in the southern part of the district, somewhere north of the railway bridge. There is a courtyard, if I remember rightly.
I may have a look at your goods, Mr. Russell.
Women's right to vote. Women died too in this war.
I'm not sure visiting Italy.
Where shall I eat tonight? Good evening, Dr. Reid.
I may have a look at your goods.
way home.
Welcome, Dr. Reid. I did not imagine I would meet you here. I knew your father. He was a good man.
So you are our savior. Ha. Should leave London, my boy. I'm sure you have more important things to do than talking with an old man like myself.
How's your investigation going, Dr. Reid? Time is our enemy.
I have a few questions for your lordship.
All right, but be quick.
You made me swear on the blood of William Marshall during my initiation ceremony. Why was that?
William Marshall was the most glorious knight who ever lived. He served 5 kings, and was a living example of probity for all. And he was my maker.
William Marshall was a vampire? Is this some sort of joke? Wait. Could he be my maker?
That would be joyful news, for it would mean he still walks among us. But alas, the great knight has left this world for good.
Why is his blood so sacred to the Ascalon Club?
He was simply the greatest defender of the realm we have ever known. I fought by his side at the Battle of Preston, and he made me his progeny following the fight.
Goodbye.
Godspeed.
I'm sure Kaloon Russell has no interest in such a conventional menu. It's locked. Good evening, Mr.
Are you sure no...
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not...
How dare you...
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
No. I try to stay away from shelters and obvious places. Who knows who may be spying and trying to spot me there?
Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London?
Not really. I've spent so many days hiding to escape retaliation from the wet boot boys. Now that there's so much chaos, they might forget about me.
Goodbye, Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reid.
Show me what you have. Good evening.
There's no need...
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I don't like asking for help, but I don't want to be one of those poor sods dying in the streets.
There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reid, can I...
Have you heard any rumors regarding Sean Hampton's shelter?
I cannot say I've heard anything particularly interesting, but I was too busy hunting evil to pay attention.
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
Actually, I may. In my line of work, I have to stop at any sign of infection.
Treating a vampire hunter's wounds is certainly a first for me. I'm happy to help you, of course.
Thank you, Dr. Reid. Your support means a lot.
Goodbye.
I can't protect the whole city. It's hard enough to cover the dock spots.
Evening, Ruth.
Evening, Mr.
So... It's locked, all right.
Am I really cursed? It explains so much.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Good evening, Mrs. Fishburne. May I come in, please?
Of course. Dr. Reid. Please don't stay too long, sir.
It's locked, all right.
What can I do for you, Dr. Reid?
Mrs. Fishburne, are you in need of any medical assistance?
I am afraid I am, Doctor. I don't feel well at all.
Then let me give you a prescription.
I thank you for your generosity, sir. It's something this part of town truly needs.
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Woodbeat.
Good evening to you, my young doctor.
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
Unfortunately, yes. The spirit is willing, but the flesh, well, you know.
Nobody is immune to disease. There's no need to be ashamed of that.
Well, thank you, doctor. Now maybe I'll live another day or two.
Welcome back, Doc.
Goodbye.
You still working at this hour?
Good.
Don't forget to count each bullet you fire.
You told me that already.
Nice shot. You learn quickly. Pointing an empty gun could be a fatal mistake.
It's easier when I picture the bastard's face.
I cannot enter.
Are they stupid or something? I've never even been to India.
Welcome back, Doctor.
Why are you teaching your waitress how to use a pistol?
Sabrina is a nice girl who's already faced a lot of problems in her life. She does not need another.
Goodbye, Mr.
I should just run as far away from this place as I can.
So few clients. But with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
You still working at this hour?
I know you've been learning to use a gun, Sabrina. What are you up to?
I just want to feel safe when I go home at night.
I understand. Everyone has the right to defend themselves.
Yeah, especially when there's no justice around.
Good.
You know, it would be nice to see each other outside the pub sometime.
This situation won't last forever. So we'll have plenty of fun in the future.
Good thing we haven't seen Seymour for a while. Even Dyson has stopped coming in every night.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reid. What do you want?
Can I...
As long as you have money.
Good evening.
Hello again.
Can I offer you my medical help, Miss Cox?
Giving out for free? You'd make a poor businessman, Dr. Reid.
Perhaps I would. You would feel better.
Thanks. But don't expect me to owe you anything.
Good.
Without the wet boots keeping things straight, these parts would be running completely amok.
It's locked.
Leech spotted! Watch out, boys! Stop!
Murderous bastard!
No rest for the wicked! It's mine! Die, Vampyr! Vermin! Killing's all you deserve. God walks with me! All you idiots need killing!
Fear no evil. We do the Lord's work here. We have a killer! Christ, he's dead! Roll back to the house!
It's locked, all right.
Hello, Jonathan.
Complicated, my friend. The rich and powerful feel threatened by the disease, and have asked me to put an end to it.
Yes. It is odd how resolving a crisis suddenly increases in urgency when it affects those who matter.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson, the famous tycoon, is well versed in vampire and occult knowledge?
No, I did not. But that is no surprise. For half a century, it has been quite the trend for English nobility to join secret societies and occult circles.
But Aloysius Dawson is only a rich merchant.
Yes, richer than Croesus. Wealth is more respected than title these days, even in England.
Did he contact the Brotherhood of St. Paul? Try to join your group?
It would not surprise me, but I am certain he's never been a member.
It looks like the epidemic is... I'm trying to locate the source of the infection.
It won't be an easy task, my friend. This disease is highly contagious.
Do you not think epidemiology could be helpful in this matter? To retrace the origin of infection through time and topology?
If anyone can perform such a miracle, it will be you, Dr. Reid.
Since this epidemic is evidently linked to the vampire curse, we must find the original carrier to understand where it comes from.
I admire your logic, Jonathan, but be careful. Rationality, when it comes to your kind, is not always a reliable lens.
Does the Brotherhood of St. Paul know anything about the Ascalon Club?
Well, I'm afraid that's unlikely. Ascalon is a sensitive topic, and whatever material the Brotherhood has, I may not have access to.
Who could answer me then?
Usher Talltree, our current primate, may be the only one able to answer you. He's a discreet man who lives in the West End.
Thank you. It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Done.
The burdens of this hospital.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Doctor.
It's locked, all right. Southwark. My departure for France as a promising student. My return as a brilliant surgeon, about to be killed. Transformed.
it! Ah! Filthy piece of... Over there! There's one of them!
Good evening, my dear colleague.
I'd like to see what kind of...
Good.
You look in. Well, there you have it.
Thank you.
Goodbye, miss.
It's locked, all right.
us! I hear you. Go to the leads, boys! Benefit you!
This one's a top! Filthy murder! We cannot be defeated! He's dead!
It's locked.
There's one of them! Watch yourself! Christ, he's dead! Christ! He's dead!
I'm sure Kalun Russell has no interest in such a conventional menu. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. More Braille. I should bring this to Mason Swanborough. A restaurant where the guests are blindfolded before being seated. Intriguing.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. A great night, what?
I have found a restaurant that could satisfy you, Mr. Russell. The most intriguing and exotic restaurant in London.
Really? You have piqued my interest. Where is it?
It's a place where you eat in complete darkness and try to identify your meal without anything but your palate.
My, oh my, how interesting. It could even be fun to eat a little poisson et fruits that way. Oh, thank you, Dr. Reid. Please, have this for your research.
Goodbye.
Women die too in this.
That building is under quarantine. Could this be what I'm looking for? So the husband had an affair with Doris Fletcher. Doris Fletcher seems to be the missing link here. It can't just be a coincidence. I should go to her acting school. I cannot enter. It's locked or... right.
Get them weapons ready! We've found one! Oh no!
There's an open window on the second floor. I should be able to get in through that. It's locked.
Woe to you, nations of hypocrites. For in front of you stands the tall queen. You can but lower your head. It only lurk at her soiled feet.
Can that be Doris Fletcher's voice? Where does it come from?
Alas, poor Doris. I knew her well. And many can testify to her kindness and beauty. For now she hides in shadow, ugly and sick. But when you burn and die, she will rise and be queen again. Woe to you, nations of hypocrites. For in front stands the tall queen. You can lower your head.
It's locked, all right. I have this thirst for blood.
Who are you? You who dared enter my realm. Are you here to worship or mock me?
I'm here to put an end to the vampire epidemic, Miss Fletcher.
Ah. But Doris Fletcher is no more. She was consumed by this putrid flesh that now enshrouds her.
You feel anger for what happened to you, but I can help you. I'm a doctor, Miss Fletcher.
Doris Fletcher is no more. All that remains are the dreams of the queen she was, and the queen she'll be. Until then, all shall die, for that was her final wish. Your blood will be mine! Behold, Kinslayer, the disgrace of she-beauty was once renowned. Will she be the queen again once they all share her fate? Touché, sir. Woe unto thee, son of Babylon! Your hand is shaking. Come to me, my servants! Arise and save your queen, my slave. Woe unto thee, son of Babylon! Behold, Kinslayer, the disgrace of she-beauty now. Will she be the queen again once they all share her fate? Avenge me! My children, my beloved, die for the love of me! You killed my father! Prepare to die! Behold, Kinslayer, the disgrace of she who was once renowned. Will she be the queen again once they all share her fate? Your blood will be mine. Touche! I summon thee, my children of the night. Fight! May come to me, my My blade shall pierce your villainous heart, dark prince. Your blood will be mine! Touché, sir. On guard! Behold, Kinslayer, the disgrace of she who was once renowned. Will she to be the queen again once they all share her fate. I summon thee, my children of the night. Fight! May come to me! My servants, avenge me! My children, my beloved, die for the love of me. Wait. I beg you, wait.
What?
I don't want to die.
And I did not come to kill you, Miss Fletcher.
Will you spare me then? Save this cadaverous carcass of mine. Does your heart beat a little faster now? You fancy me then, Doctor?
No, Miss Fletcher. My dead heart will beat for only one.
Ah! Is she pretty? Is she sweet and tender?
To me, yes.
Ah! I hate her already.
I know. And this is partly why you must be destroyed.
But you just said...
That I did not come here to kill you, yes. But I realize now the threat you embody must be stopped.
Will I be remembered? Will you?
You were Doris Fletcher, the greatest actress of her generation. No one can take that from you.
Thank you. And farewell. Ah! Ah!
Farewell, Doris.
Bravo! So dramatic. I love it.
McCullum!
How strange I seem to find you whenever I'm inquiring about that Skal infestation.
I mean you no harm.
I'm not here for you. But once I put all the pieces of the puzzle together, I'm sure we'll have a little chat, you and me.
Stay away from me, McCullum. You and all your war dogs.
That I can't guarantee, Dr. Reid. But I'll let you go. For now.
I should probably leave the theater right now. The West End should be safe now. But London is not. It would be wise to benefit from the Ascalon's protection while I continue my research during the Great Hunt. These people want me dead. I need to leave now. So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing.
No civilians allowed, sir.
Women die too in this war.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reid. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lancebearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reid. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice, Dr. Reid. I admire a man of principles. But in this matter, there is more at stake than your moral comfort.
It's not a moral question, Lord Redgrave. It's the responsibility of giving immortality to a man I barely know.
Nonsense. Aloysius has been a member of the Ascalon for years. This is but the fruition of a long-held plan.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reid. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. Have a drink and enjoy this night, for it could be our last.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the Reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him. It's locked. I should find another way to get into the neighborhood. This passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion. It's locked, all right. Louise's father was determined to find and save her. This is despicable. have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Never be your wife!
You London vampire! So weak!
Let me go, you bastard! Disgusting asshole! Vampire or not, I'll never be your wife!
Miss Teasdale, are you all right?
How do you know my name? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Reid. I managed to track you down thanks to your father.
So my father really was looking after me. This man, this vampire told me my father was dead. Is it true?
I'm afraid so, miss. I'm so sorry for your loss. But you are free to go, as your abductor is no more.
I suppose my jailer also killed my father, didn't he?
Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them.
I must find my father's body. He deserves a proper burial.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale.
We should be far from town already. All right. But where would we go? Anywhere. Anywhere that isn't here. And what is that, by the way? A safer place? A less strange place? And where would that be? Life is strange. And we are alive. For now, yes. But for how long? If we decided to flee, we should be far from town already. All right. But where would we go?